How's it going out there, YouTuber? Cybernetic Shark here with another new movie review for you. So let's get right into this review and see what I saw. This past Wednesday, I had the chance of checking out a new awesome film that was worldwide released finally this January, even though it was limitedly released back in December of 2017. And that is an awesome dramatic and biopic film, Darkest Hour. Now, Darkest Hour stars and has a huge, awesome cast, and is an amazing drama pick that's during World War II. Now, this film is just really well crafted. It was so well done, and you were fully immersed in the whole entire film. This film also gave and shed a lot of light on what went on during this time period during the 1940s, and where, the start of the World War, II really started and began, and what it kind of did and what Hitler kind of did. There was a lot of cool stuff about this film. The prosthetics were amazing. The music, the cinematography was amazing. It was just beautifully crafted of a film. Now, this awesome film was directed by Mr. Joe Wright. Now, Joe Wright has actually directed a couple other great films that I really enjoyed and thought that were, decent films and fun and entertaining wise. And he did a really good job with this one as well. But those two films happen to be an awesome 2015 film that is actually kind of the beginning to an origin story of an awesome character, and that is the film Pan. Now, Pan was a beautifully illustrated and CGI worked film. The beauty of Neverland was so amazing in this film. It was so well crafted and just really brought to life. And Joe did an amazing job of really giving us a whole new aspect on Peter Pan himself. And I thought that he did a really good job with that film. It was really interesting. And I really enjoyed the kid that played Peter Pan and just how kind of his relationship with Captain Hook was. And it was kind of interesting that they kind of embellished on that and gave you a little bit of a back history of that. And I thought that was really awesome. Another film that he actually directed and I thought was a decent action film was an awesome film with Sarah Rosen, and that is the film Hannah. Hannah was a very different film. I wasn't too sure about it first, but after watching it a couple times, I actually ended up liking it and thought it was a pretty decent action flick. And Eric Bana plays in it too, and I thought he's always a really good actor, and I enjoy him. And so I was really happy to see him in the film too. But the whole movie in itself was an interesting concept, with this younger girl being kind of like this assassin character, and I thought that was really cool, and I thought Joe did an amazing job with that. Well, with Darkest Hour, Joe Wright made an amazing biopic film. Everything about it wasn't boring, it was entertaining, everything about it was very truthful, and it showed a wonderful light and gave you an interesting aspect of what this main character went through and what Churchill was like during this time frame when he first became the Prime Minister. So, we have an all-star cast that's in this film. Now, to start off this awesome cast, none other plays Churchill himself, Mr. Gary Oldman. Now, Gary Oldman we all know from a variety of films, such as Sirius Black and the Harry Potter films. He was in a whole bunch of other slew of films too. Bram Stoker's Dracula is Dracula. He's been around. But a couple great films that I really enjoyed him in and that were some of his better films were such films as the awesome and amazing film, The Fifth Element. The Fifth Element is just an all-around awesome and probably one of Luc Besson's best films. His character in that just cracks me up, that southern accent that he has in the film, and I just absolutely loved it. I thought it was a super awesome accent and very believable, but his bad guy character in that was just really super cool, and I really enjoyed it. And plus, the movie itself was just a really well-done film, too, and very action-packed and just very well-crafted as well. Another awesome film that he was in that was also a Luc Besson film that was just one of his all-time best. And this movie is his best, I feel. Simply the fact that you have the awesome John Reno in it and the young Natalie Portman in it. And that's the film The Professional. The Professional was a masterpiece of a film. It's so moving, so epic, and just a really well done film. And Gary Oldman's bad guy character in that film was just superb to the T. He really embodied that character, and I absolutely thought he did an amazing job. and he really transforms himself into his roles. And that's what he did with The Professional and The Fifth Element, and with this current film, Darkest Hour. You felt that he really was Winston Churchill. But in Darkest Hour, he put on a performance that's definitely worthy of an Oscar nom, or even an Oscar itself. This performance, you truly think that he is Winston Churchill with how good he did in this film. The prosthetic work, you could not recognize him at all. He was so amazing, and he made the movie so awesome and so enjoyable. We also have, starring the film, a younger actress that has been around for the last few years and kind of come up to her stardom, and that's Miss Lilly James. Now, Lilly James we might recognize from such awesome films as the 2015 live-action adaptation, Cinderella, which was actually not too bad of a film. I don't think it was as good as the live-action Jungle Book, and I think it's better than the live-action Beauty and the Beast, most definitely. But this film was definitely not that bad as, a lot of people said, and it also wasn't as good as people said. But still, Lilly James played a really good Cinderella, and I really enjoyed her character in it. Another great film that Lilly James was in that I think is a masterpiece of a film, and didn't get enough credit for how good of a film it is, and also just a really random type of film, kind of being dramatic / horror film, with kind of like an interesting comedy element. And that is the film Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, which I think was a really fun film. I was super entertained with this film. I thought it was a really interesting concept of Pride and Prejudice, adding the zombie element to it, and it was kick-ass. It had a lot of great action sequences, and Lilly James kicked butt in it. I really thought it was a good film, and I wish it got more credit for how good of a film it was. I believe, if I remember correctly, the movie barely made back what it cost to be made, unfortunately, because it was considered such a box office bomb. But at the same time, I still think it was a fantastic film that deserves more credit than for what it got. But in Darkest Hour, Lilly James plays Winston Churchill's secretary, or basically like an assistant that types out everything that he says for his speeches and stuff. And I thought she did a really good job of representing that actual person. Unfortunately, that actual person passed away in 2014, but from what I understand, she was very accurate on how that character really was, and that it was a very well done and tasteful appearance of this character, and really gave that that actress, or gave that actual lady a really nice and beautiful send-off. It was really just an amazing role, and I really enjoyed her in it. She really made the movie pop too as well, besides Gary Oldman. We also have in the film a amazing actress that isn't the most attractive, I think, but also she is very masterful in her acting, though, and is a decent actress. And I've pretty much the majority of the movies that she's been in, she has been really good. And that is Miss Kristin Scott Thomas. Now, of course, Kristin Scott Thomas we all recognize from such films as the 1996 Ralph Fiennes film, The English Patient, which that movie won so many Academy Awards when it got released. And I remember watching it a few years ago and thinking, this boring movie won all those awards. I was absolutely stunned that this boring movie won so many Academies. I was so bored to death with it. I thought the story was crap. I thought it could have been way better written, and I thought that the CGI work and all the work that they put into the film really wasn't anything of Academy Award worthy. But at the same time, Kristin Scott Thomas's character in the film was an interesting character, and she did a decent job, and made the movie, enough to where it was, viewable, basically. And of course, Ralph Fiennes, he's always awesome no matter what he's in, and he made it, watchable too. But another movie that Kristin Scott Thomas was in that was a decent film, and I thought was amazing, kind of like murder mystery film, is an awesome film from 2001 or 2 called Godsford Park, which was kind of along the lines of murder by death and stuff like that. It was a really good film, and that's another one that got some really good reviews, kind of. But then at the the same time it kind of died out, I think that's a really well done film, and everyone involved in it made it interesting and a cool murder mystery film. And I thought Kristin Scott Thomas's character in that was really awesome, and she really made the movie enjoyable and gave it a whole great nature with her acting ability. But in The Awesome Darkest Hour, she plays Winston Churchill's wife, who is absolutely astonishing in this film. This was probably one of her best roles I've seen her in a long time, and I absolutely think she was amazing as his wife in this film, and just did a really good job. She, brought that character to life, gave, the real Winston Churchill's wife, credit, and gave her a whole new, enlightening light to people that, don't know much about her or how her relationship was with her husband, and kind of gave us a new history lesson. I thought that was really great. We also have in the film another awesome actor that I think is just a really great actor and fun to watch, and that's Mr. Ben Mendelsohn. Now, Ben Mendelsohn, we all might recognize from such films as the awesome 2000 film about, climbing mountains and trying to save people that are stuck up in the mountain, Vertical Limit. Now, Vertical Limit was actually the very first film I ever saw him in, and I absolutely remember just dying laughing at how funny I thought he was in the film. And watching him, I was like, that guy's going to be funny in any other movie I see him in, or he's just going to be a really good actor. And he is, and he was amazing in that film. He brought a lot of great funny and chemistry to that film, and he also had a heartfelt side, in that film too as well. And it was just a fun all-around great film. That was actually one of the last films I got to see at this awesome theater that was only $1 to go see a movie. It was so amazing. Such a great movie, and it's so enjoyable still to watch to this day. Another awesome film that Mr. Ben Mendelsohn was in is an awesome 2016 film that's just all around just an amazing and awesome new addition to the Star Wars franchise, and that is the awesome Star Wars Rogue One. Now, Star Wars Rogue One was just, I think, one of the other best Star Wars film of all time. This one, Rogue One, is like up there with My Last Jedi and Empire Strikes Back. It just was so well crafted and so well and amazingly made. And Ben Mendelsohn's character in the film was really awesome as this bad guy of the Empire. And it just was a really well-crafted film. And once again, Ben Mendelsohn, his awesome acting really brought together that character and made it a great new character for that franchise, and really gave a new emphasis on what the Rebels had to go through to get the, maps for the Death Star to destroy. It was just a really awesome film. But in The Awesome Darkest Hour, Ben Mendelsohn actually plays King George in this film, and I thought he did a superb job playing that character. He just was really well-rounded and did a really amazing job in bringing, another different aspect or another different take on what King George was like during this time frame. Because we, of course, also have the film, The King's Speech, that Colin Firth did and brought, a little bit more of a knowing and knowledge of King George himself, and I thought Ben Mendelsohn brought justice just as Colin Firth did. It just was a really well done role and was really enjoyable in the film and made it very entertaining. So if you're not familiar with what Darkest Hour is about, basically what this film's premise is it shows you what Winston Churchill went through when he first became the Prime Minister back in 1940, and basically what he did and strived to do to keep, the whole Britain from going under from the Nazi ruling. And basically, what was involved with him being the Prime Minister and trying to keep, all of Britain's and all of Europe's hopes up, saying that we're not going to give in. And this is around the same time that he had some of his most quoted quotes that happened. And man, did they do a beautiful job with this film. It just was so well crafted, such an amazingly directed film. Everything about it was so elegantly, delicately done, and just did a really good job. It was so truthful and so accurate too as well. And it just was a wonderful new take on who Winston Churchill was and what he did and what was involved during that time frame of World War II. I absolutely always enjoy history type of films. like, that have to do with World War One, World War Two, the Revolutionary War, anything that has to do with the history of, the world itself. I always find, new knowledge so incredibly fun. And this really helped enlighten me. And I thought Joe Wright did an amazing job of helping and enlightening the world on who Winston Churchill and what he did for all the countries in the world. Because if Winston didn't have done what he did, what could have happened to the United States if, he hadn't done what he did? If he had bargained with them. It's just a really amazing film, and it was very, very good. If you haven't seen it, definitely go check it out. Such worth a watch. Amazing. Gary Oldman definitely deserves the Oscar for this role, and even this film should be considered for Best Picture. It was so amazing, so good. My first favorite of 2018, honestly. One of my favorites of 2018, even though it came out supposedly last year. I still think this is one of the best of 2018 so far. Really great film. Definitely check out if you get a chance, especially with award seasons coming up. So that's it for this movie review, guys. As always, thank you for watching. Thank you for liking. And as always, thank you for subscribing. And if this is your first time here, or you've been here before and haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss one of these awesome videos I make, or any of the awesome videos I make. And also, keep your eyes out for any older, newer videos you might not have seen mine yet. And as always, please check out that awesome link down below about the awesome horror pack. Now, the horror pack is an awesome subscription service that comes right to your door of either Blu-rays or DVDs of horror films, of random goodness. And also, each of these awesome boxes have a limited edition, which is awesome if you're a huge movie collector or a collector of limited edition items. And these limited editions are exclusive to the awesome horror pack, so you can't get them anywhere else. So, what are you waiting for? Check it out, people. It's really worth it. And if you are interested or are going to sign up, let me know down in the comments so I can hook you up with a discount for your first month. And as always, catch you in the next one.